Hey guys, we are coming in live on a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, I'm just going to give you a warning, quick little heads up. I'm having some vocal issues, so my voice is struggling just a little bit. So I apologize for that, but we're going to get through this. All right, so let's get right into this. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for the majority of Van Buren County. It does not include Searcy County, but areas impacted in the severe thunderstorm warning is Scotland, Formosa, Clinton, Morganton, Fairfield Bay, Shirley. Those two areas not in the severe thunderstorm warning. Old Lexington not in it. Denard is also not in it, but very strong storm going to be moving through the area. And we could take a look at the velocity. Just look at that. That's very strong winds that are going to be moving through. And I would say 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are certainly possible with this storm. There's a lot of lightning with this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, my voice is struggling just a little bit. I'm going to be drinking a lot of water to get through this. So I'm very sorry. The allergies are killing me right now. So, all right. So we've got a severe thunderstorm warning, like I said, for the majority of Van Buren County. And then we've got one for Hector, Jerusalem, Hattieville, Atkins, Morrilton, Perryville, all the way down to Maumelle, Little Rock. So we've kind of got a line of thunderstorms. We've been watching this all day, and though they've moved east, and now they're beginning to get their act together as they move towards Van Buren County, with damaging winds being the primary threat. So we can see that, and after this, it's going to be mainly heavy rain. But when that first initial part of the line moves through, I think that's when the damaging winds would certainly be present. So Marshall, Leslie, I think you're getting heavy rain. Snowball, heavy rain. St. Joe, I think Searcy County for the most part is getting heavy rain. I think the severe weather threat's a lot lower there than it is for this area. I think we're really zoning in from Conway County to Van Buren County to Pope County. This area right here is what I'm watching very closely. I think heavy rain moving through the southwest corner of Van Buren County, and it's going to be just to the west of Scotland. So let's take a look at, we can get a better look at this on our max and kind of get a better idea of some towns a little bit closer. So we've got Austin here, and you can see, I think, heavy rain for Lost Corner over towards Austin, Stump Toe, those areas experiencing very heavy rain as well as wind gust. Look, these are strong wind gusts, guys, and I'm serious. My voice is struggling, and I'm sorry. But 50-mile-an-hour wind gust is what the radar is estimating, and I would say that it might be a little bit low on this. I would not be surprised if we're getting 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gust with this. So we're continuing to watch this storm very closely. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, Blizzard and Blaze weather page. And so we're going to continue to watch this. But I think anybody in Scotland, Formosa, Clinton, Morganton, you need to be watching this storm very closely. Now, the good news about this whole thing is that I don't see really any rotation with this. So I don't think there's a tornado threat with this particular line. At least I don't see it right now. Now, that could change. But looking at what I'm seeing, I think this is mainly going to be a damaging wind threat versus a tornado or hail threat. So that's great news. This is moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. And so, Conway County, you're getting impacted with this. It's just right on the doorstep of Van Buren County, starting to move through. Faulkner County, this is headed towards your direction. Little Rock also headed your direction. So it's just a pretty strong line that's moving through. And it impacted all of the River Valley, Crawford County, Sebastian, Polk County. I know there was tornado warnings all day. I was following some people in that area, watching their coverage, and then it moved off to the east, and now it's impacting us. And so now we are taking over on coverage for the area. So we've got severe thunderstorm warning, no tornado warning. Let's see if they've got a tornado possible tag to this. Um, I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. So give me just a second. Let me verify that there's no tornado possible tag. No, no tornado possible tag on this. So, not even enough rotation. I don't see anything. What I see is I see strong winds. So I don't see, I mean, there's a TVS marker, but I just don't see rotation with this. Not anything that's real strong. If we look at our rotation tracker, well, you can say, well, that's, a little bit higher. Well, you could say that, but I think what this is indicating is mainly just strong winds. And so we look at this, the NROT, because it is basically taking velocity scans and trying to pinpoint where rotation would be present. And so when you've got the leading edge of this line like this, you have to look for the NROT to be more linear, and that's what we see. So we're not seeing isolated cells, we're seeing a linear or a line. And so there's portions of this line that does have some spin to it, some kinks in the line, but for the most part, I don't see anything that would indicate any kind of rotation. So I don't expect any tornado warnings with this particular line. At least I don't right now. Now that could change. We got to watch, but I think the tornado threat today, the atmosphere is less supportive of tornadoes, more supportive of damaging winds. So, and I'll show you what I mean by that. If I go to the mesoanalysis data here, this is significant tornado parameters. So, there's barely anything for our area. What you do see is that things start getting a little bit elevated towards Texas area, and that's where the highest risk is. But for us, we're on the lower side. Yeah, there may be, I mean, if you had to scale this between 1 to 10, according to what I'm seeing, it's a 1. It's a 1 for our area. So, very low tornado potential with this line today. So, I hope I can kind of, ease your concern there. But we're going to have to watch it because anytime there's severe weather, you can never discount a tornado threat. It's never zero, but it's very low today. So, and I think there's heavy rain starting to move into Clinton, and maybe we can get more heavy rain before the main line moves through and kind of maybe weaken the line just a little bit. And again, my apologies. My voice is really struggling right now, so I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Yesterday, I was starting to lose it, and then today, it's just continued to stay like this. And so I've been trying to drink a lot of water, and I don't know, it's weird. But you can see that just to the south of Smyrna, we're definitely seeing an increase in wind potential. So, all right, so we're staying right here on this storm. So we've got severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Like I said, for the majority of Van Buren County, this includes Scotland, Formosa, Morganton, Clinton. I definitely think they're going to continue the severe thunderstorm warning and expand it. There's a few areas like, to the south of Center Ridge where it's really starting to bow out. So I would say increased wind gust, maybe some inflow coming in, but I don't see any kind of real rotation with this. Um, I think the line itself might have some spin to it, but in terms of any kind of like tornado threat, I just don't see it right now with this storm. But that is had this tightened up a little bit more right there to the west of Center Ridge, yeah, I think we could have seen a warning. But now you can see it's more linear again. So it does have the track and the direction to rotate. But looking at what I'm seeing for the most part, this is just a damaging wind threat with this. Blaze, what 110 at Botkenberg looking like? As of right now, this storm will be impacting us. This storm will be pushing through, and I certainly think that Botkenberg needs to be watching this storm. I think there's fixing to be some very strong winds in the next probably 20 to 30 minutes moving through our area. So, something we need to continue to watch. So, I will be watching this very, very closely. So, I think there's heavy rain already starting to build right around the Clinton area. I think there's some rain developing Scotland, Formosa, Morganton, Old Lexington. But, if I can ease your mind a little bit, it's that tornado parameters. It's a 1 out of 10. So, I guess you could say a 10% chance, but really it's a very low risk for tornadoes. So that's great news. When do you think that it will impact Clinton? So there's some technology that I haven't used in a little while. I've used this software, but it's really handy with giving me information. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a track on this. They are doing, hang on just a second. I'm going to put a track on this, track towards Clinton. So this storm, let's see. So if we look if we get a storm track, hang on 1 second. Storm's moving at, let's say, 39 miles per hour. So I'm going to put this software messing up a little bit here. Well, it actually helps if I do the right thing. Okay, 39 miles per hour. So it's showing Clinton in the next 25 minutes. 25 minutes impacting the Clinton area, according to what we're seeing. Really seeing some serious wind gust. I think we're gonna have some wind damage south of Smyrna. I really do. This, mm, this is starting to rotate just a little bit, and I'm very cautious on me saying that. But there's some broad rotation. I mean, very broad. But it's certainly something we will watch. I think it's damaging winds though. Radar is now estimating, yeah, right around 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this. So, ooh, we're gonna have some wind damage, I'm afraid. Still calm and quiet in B Branch. Thank you for that report. That is going to change though. Over the next, I'd say, 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, that's some serious wind potential with this, guys. Concern is really growing to the southeast of Smyrna for wind damage. And I think there is some broad rotation with this. I would not be surprised. It would not surprise me in the slightest if we do see a tornado warning. I doubt it, but knowing how this is and the quick spin up potential, let me look at something real quick. Storm relative velocity. Okay, so let me show you. I am really getting concerned now with wind, damaging winds with this, guys. I'm serious. I'm less concerned with tornado threat with this. I'm more concerned with damaging winds. I've got radar estimating now close to potentially 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. Let's go. All right, I tell you what. We're gonna go to this software, and I want to analyze something right here. So we see here's Clinton, right? So you see on the leading edge of that is some serious wind gusts, guys. I mean, that is damaging winds that are going to be pushing through. There's going to be wind damage, unfortunately, if this is making it to the ground. So radar is estimating, and this is what I'm a little concerned about. I mean, did it just freeze? Program just crashed on me. Of course it did. All right, hang on just 1 second. We'll get it back. I don't know what's going on today. All right, we're back. So here's what you got. According to radar, this is estimating 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. I mean, if that's making it to the ground, this is going to be some serious wind damage. So we're looking at this thunderstorm, and we're looking about 4,000, almost 5,000 feet up in the air. So when you go up in tilt on the radar beam shoots out, it looks up the tilts. And so we're seeing this about 5,000 feet. So 5,000 feet, there's about 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. Is that making it to the surface? Well, you got to think. We got to have the instability to make it to the surface. And I think we do. I think we've got the low-level instability. And so because we've got the low-level instability with this, I definitely think we're going to get reports of wind damage in this area. And unfortunately, I hate to say that, but um, I don't think you should be taking your tornado precautions, but I certainly think that you should be watching this very closely, keeping a very close eye on this. And if you know anybody just to the east of Smyrna, there's concern growing here with very strong wind gusts. Matter of fact, just got a new radar scan And we are looking at now almost 75-mile-per-hour wind gust, according to this radar. This is serious if this is making it to the ground. That's the question. Is it making it to the ground or not? I fully anticipate we're fixing to see a brand new severe thunderstorm warning, and it's going to include a portion of southern Searcy County, and it's going to include northern Van Buren County, because this part of that thunderstorm right there is really starting to bow out. And I think that is a serious concern. So if we look at this, I'm looking at that. Yeah, I mean it's showing some serious wind. If we kind of go and look at a broad view here, and if we go back to, let's do this this screen right here. So you've got the whole line here. That's a terrible line, but you've got the whole line, and there's parts of it that's strong. But the strongest storm or portion of the storm is going to be right there. Then there's another area south that's showing some strong winds. The whole line itself, I don't think, is putting 40 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gust out. But I do think right here, I hope this is a bad radar read. I really do. I just don't think it is, though. I would be, I'm afraid, and this is probably fixing to track right through here. So we're watching this very closely. It's a very strong thunderstorm, though. Let's go to velocity. And the way we're seeing that is our storm relative velocity. And it's doing a really good job seeing this thunderstorm. I think as you enter Van Buren County, man, I think we're gonna get some wind damage reports, and I hate to say that. But this is very strong. Very, very, very strong. You can see the movement of this thunderstorm. Yeah, I suspect we're going to see a new severe thunderstorm warning, and I think it's going to include portions of Searcy County and northern Van Buren County. Jason says, can you explain how the wind can be 75 mile per hour but only moving at 39 mile per hour? So the 39 mile per hour that I'm talking about is the movement of the storm itself. The winds are the winds that are from the storm. So when we're tracking this, and I'm like, okay, what overall we can see that this is moving at 39 miles per hour, but what's embedded in the storm is potentially 70-mile-an-hour winds. So that's why that's the difference. It can get kind of confusing in terms of the winds and the speed, because both have two different speeds, but it can get a lot more depth science wise. But we can go into it here in a little bit. But the bottom line is, one is measuring the storm movement and one is measuring the storm itself. So very, very strong wind gust with this. Very strong wind gust. I hope it's not making it to the ground. There's always that chance it's not making it, and I'm hoping that's the case. But I'm not sold that this is not making it to the ground right now. I certainly think. Well, we'll know. We'll know because this is tracking right here towards the weather center, and I've got a. I'll be able to measure the wind speed. I'll tell you real quick if this is making it to the ground or not. I mean, this is tracking directly towards the weather center. So that's crazy. Strongest part of this thunderstorm tracking towards the weather center. That's just interesting to me. Straight line winds here. Okay, Alicia, where are you referring to? Also, I think there's some strong winds headed that just passed Center Ridge, moving towards Formosa, B Branch, Damascus. And so I don't want to take anything away from the entire line itself, because I think there's wind gust associated with this whole line. But I think there's certain portions of it that are stronger than others. And so that's what I'm trying to balance, but I'm focusing on those areas that really are lighting up into the radar. And that's something Scotland, Cleveland area. Yeah. That's Yeah, that's gotta be that's this storm. Yeah, that's this storm we're looking at right here. I think the strongest winds are to the north of Scotland. Anybody that's in that area north of Scotland, if you've got any reports, that would be very helpful. Like specifically like Rex, Crabtree, Copeland, those areas. The wind is very strong here in Scotland now. Thank you for that report. So we've got Robert, Copeland, Crabtree, Walnut Grove, Scotland. You know, those areas. Um, Watching this very closely, getting a zoom on this. And I just want to keep it right here because I think this gives us a really good kind of, it shows us where everything is. So there's Old Botkenberg, there's Crabtree, there's Walnut Grove, there's Clinton. I hear thunder. Thunder's really starting to amplify here at the Weather Center. There's certainly, some very strong winds uh, out, the outward winds on this for sure. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm having vocal issues, so I know I don't sound normal. Voice is struggling some, but bottom line is we got to be live, and that's what we're doing. So I think there's very strong winds moving into Van Buren County. High winds, rain, and power outages in Center Ridge area. Thank you for that report. Yeah, I'm afraid we're going to get more of the power outages and more reports like that because this is a pretty stout line moving through. It does look like it might be weakening some, so that's good news, but definitely don't want to let the guard down here. Don't want to let the guard down. So if you're just joining us, we're continuing to track very strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorm warning for the majority of Van Buren County. I think strongest storm though is going to be to the southwest of Denard, over towards Scotland, Formosa, Damascus. Watching this very closely. The power keeps going off and on here at Scotland now. Thank you for that report. Unfortunately, Christy, I don't think it's going to stay on. As strong as these winds are right on the leading edge of this, I would not be surprised if you lose power and it stays off. If it keeps going off on. I don't know much about electricity, but I think if it goes off 3 different times, then it shuts it off completely. I don't know that for certain, but I know here, we sometimes it goes on, off, on, and then it'll go off and it'll stay off. So, regardless of the wind threat with this, there is also a lot of lightning potential with this. Um, and I mean a lot of lightning. Let me see if I can load this up. See if I can put lightning on here. Yeah, that's better. All right, yeah. So you see, look at all that lightning right there near center edge. That's a ton. And there's lightning strikes on the leading edge of this. And I think it's gonna be pretty strong. I don't think it's gonna be one of those, simple just quick burst in the air. I think this is gonna be cloud to ground lightning, is what I certainly think. So if you have electronics plugged in, probably a good idea if you're in Denard, Clinton, Botkenberg, Shirley, Fairfield Bay, go ahead and consider unplugging those devices. You don't want to be dealing with lightning damage. There is certainly an increase in lightning here near the Center Ridge area. So definitely something we're going to continue to watch. Wind blowing pretty hard on Culpeper. Thank you for that report. Tornado possible? No. There is not a tornado possible tag with this. It is strictly just severe thunderstorm warning. No. Tornado possible? No. No. Just severe thunderstorm warning, just severe winds. You can see it bowing out here just to the southwest of Denard. So, and I mean, that makes sense right there because that's showing the increased winds there. So, no, Mackenzie, you're good. Yes, lightning is strong here in Center Ridge. Thank you for that report. High winds in Austin. Thank you for that report. Pouring in Pendle. Yeah, I think Searcy County is mainly just getting heavy rain. I think southern Searcy County could get impacted by this storm. Certainly something we're going to continue to watch. I think the focus right now, though, is the Van Buren County line, Searcy County, Van Buren County line, uh, down towards Cleveland. This line right here is very strong, and I think that's the focus right now. High winds, rain, and lightning in Formosa. Thank you for that report. Um, I definitely think the winds are starting to calm down some. At least that's the way it looks right now. So that's great news. We'll be able to get a measure of the wind speed associated with this storm here in just a moment. It's headed right for the Weather Center. So, Denard, Clinton, down here to Damascus. I think you're starting to get some heavy rain in Damascus. I think you're starting to see an increase in lightning. Um, there's a new scan. Damascus getting heavy rain now. B Branch fixing to get the heavy rain. Morganton fixing to get it. Clinton's fixing to get heavy rain. Denard's fixing to get it. Gilbert, St. Joe, Pendle, you're getting the heavy rain. And the good news is with that, the more heavy rain you get, the less your severe weather threat is. So I think the severe weather threat's starting to die down some for. Really, I didn't see much of a severe weather threat for Searcy County, other than that southern part. And I think for the most part, it's just heavy rain for Marshall, Snowball, St. Joe, Big Flat. So that's good news. Which I know technically Big Flat is not in Searcy County, but so I want to correct myself there. But it was just it's right on the Searcy County, Stone County line. So no, correction. It is on the Searcy County, Baxter County line. Whoops. Corrected myself again. All right. So we've got lightning. I think that is probably the primary threat, at least with most of this. But I do think there's certainly wind gusts associated with this. I think we'll see what the National Weather Service decides to do. But personally, it really looks like the wind threat is continuing on. So, and here's why I think that. Let me go over here. Crazy winds, B Branch and Damascus. Thank you for that report. So you'll see right here, here's Leslie, here's Marshall. I can't confirm if this is, making it, but guys, this is very strong winds associated with this. Now, again, this is about 4,000 to 5,000 feet up. So it's very possible it's not making, or this amount of wind is making it to the ground. But the question's going to be in Leslie is if you're getting 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gust in the next, I'd say 20 minutes. I think Clinton misses out on the strong. This thing just crashed again. They must have pushed an update or something, and now it's crashing. I don't use that software very often, but I think it does a really good job on winds. But so here's what you've got. You've got a line, pretty strong line, and I think the National Weather Service is going to have to, if they're going to, I think they're going to have to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. I think it will include a portion of southern Searcy County, but then again, they might not. They might not. They may just keep it a severe warning to the south, but just look at this line. It is a solid line from Van Buren County all the way down to Calhoun County. So very strong line here. It's fixing to be here at the Weather Center. So we're fixing to get a first look at what this is doing. It's really dark here at the Weather Center. I just looked outside. And so it's bad in Damascus, very high winds and rain. Thank you for that report, Missy. Strong wind in Conway and power outages. Are you referring to Conway County or are you referring to Conway? I assume you're referring to Conway. But then again, both have just experienced very, very strong storm. So lightning, I think, is on the increase to the southwest of Denard. I think Denard's fixing to get it. I think Botkenberg's fixing to get it. I think Clinton's fixing to get it. But I think I personally think the strongest part of this storm is between Leslie, Denard, and Botkenberg. That area right there is what needs to be watching this close, very close. Okay, strong wind and rain starting in Denard. Ashley, that's going to continue. And I think the winds are going to really start to increase. It'll be almost like somebody snaps their finger because you'll start to get wind and then it'll just whoosh all at once. And it won't last that long, but that initial first push of wind, that's when it's going to get real strong. And so it'll start to ease in and then it'll just push. And that's when you get your wind damage. And so I certainly think lightning continues to be on the increase for Formosa. I think it's a light show in Formosa, according to what I'm seeing right now. So Leslie, Denard, Botkenberg, watch this storm very closely. Um, please watch this storm close because it's very strong. And it does have wind gusts associated with it. So storm relative velocity still showing very strong winds. I'm real hesitant to pull this up. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to throw it on the screen for you guys to see. But you can see right there south of Marshall, Leslie. You see where those brighter colors are on the leading edge of that? Good indication that the wind threat is certainly present with this storm. So I would not be surprised if we get reports of some wind damage. Leslie, Botkenberg, Denard. Those three areas would not be surprised if we get reports here in the next little bit. If we go to our Marshall camera and look at that, visibility is almost dropped completely. This is a live look at Marshall, and you can't really see anything because there's so much heavy rain in Marshall right now. So, doesn't help us very much, but we can see that very strong storm here. And I clicked on the wrong thing. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're going to continue to watch this. Let's go back to Skyscan Doppler. So this right here, very strong thunderstorm moving to the east. I think this impacts Clinton, but I think the strongest part is going to go to the north of Clinton is what I think. At least that's the way it looks right now. That certainly could change, but B Branch is bad. Thank you for that report. Yeah, extremely heavy rain from B Branch to Formosa to Morganton. I mean, that is very strong. And I think lightning with that, it's a very significant combination. Now, I think the wind gust associated with this might be a little bit on the weaker side. So that's good news. But it's certainly a very, very strong thunderstorm. I still think you're seeing 40 to 50, maybe even close to 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. New severe thunderstorm warning. So they're going ahead. They're not issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for the northern part of Van Buren County, which is really interesting to me. That is really interesting to me because radar shows that to be the strongest area of wind. But they have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes Formosa, Morganton, Damascus, and as well as Cleburne County over towards White County and those areas. So I think I would not let your guard down at all in the Leslie, Botkenberg, Denard area. I certainly think this is a very strong thunderstorm. I don't know. I'm not understanding. Uh, you could say, well, the winds aren't very strong in velocity scan, which is correct. But when you look at when you look at storm relative velocity, which in my opinion does a way better job at seeing winds, there's severe winds in Denard or right on the doorstep of Denard. I would be interested to see if you are in Denard, Leslie, or Botkenberg, please send us reports. If you're getting wind damage or you're getting very strong winds, please let us know about this because I would be real interested to see this. But I think Formosa, Morganton, Damascus, that area, and we see it kind of bowing out. You see it's a bow. And let me see if I can get an arrow real quick. Yeah, I can. Here we go. So you see, here's Formosa. So you see it's kind of bowing out a little bit, and I think that's pushing some wind. And again, National Weather Service advising 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are certainly possible with this storm as it moves to the east. So crazy wind in Clinton. Yeah, I mean, it's right on the doorstep. The line itself is very strong. And so I'm not understanding. And they just went ahead and canceled severe thunderstorm warning for Clinton. I think it was allowed to expire. I'm just not understanding why there's no severe thunderstorm warning for the Marshall, Leslie, I mean, Marshall would be they would be getting missed with this, but Leslie, Denard, Botkenberg, I mean, there's very strong wind here. So I'm not sure I understand why there's no severe thunderstorm warning on this. There should, well, in my opinion, and I will say that I'm not a meteorologist yet, but I would, I personally think there should be a severe thunderstorm warning. But I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot I've got to learn. So good rain and wind in the Culpeper area. It's here. It's here right now. My voice is struggling right now. It is here. And windy some in Marshall, raining pretty good. Thank you for that report. Heavy rain and 50-mile-per-hour wind in Chimes. Okay. So that's a good indication right there. The wind is not making it to the ground because 15-mile-per-hour wind gusts would not support a severe thunderstorm warning. So that is certainly good news. Storming pretty good here at the Weather Center, though. I hear it on the oh man, it's getting with it outside right now. I mean, it is windy out there. I'm looking right now. Woo! It's blowing. Let's look. Let's see if let's see what it is here. I can hear it though. Let me see what we're measuring right now. It's loading. All right, let's see. It's sending me data. All right. Hang on, guys. Stand by. I'll be right back. I'm going to go check this. Well, the one day that you need a tool to measure the wind, it's not working. So it's down right now. That's great. So don't really know what it's doing right now, but I will tell you from looking at the trees, it's very strong wind out there. Very strong wind. So it's yeah, Denard is fired up. Yeah, I suspect it's really starting to get going in Botkenberg, Denard, and it's right on the doorstep of Leslie. Lights are flickering in B Branch. Very strong thunderstorm in B Branch. Over towards Morganton, B Branch, Damascus, Formosa. You could see the band. You could see it banding from Clinton all the way down to Damascus. And you see what's called, it's kind of like bowing out. It's almost like a bow. And so that right there would tell us there's wind being pushed and there's a, I don't want to use the word outflow, or outflow boundary, but there's outflow pushing through. And I think Morganton is getting significant wind right now. Clinton is getting lit up with lightning, it looks like, according to this. It's really starting to pick up here at the Weather Center now. I can hear it. Heavy rain moving through. The good news is, though, there's barely any hail with this. So there's really no hail threat. It's mainly just a damaging wind threat, as well as an isolated tornado threat. But I don't see anything that would be concerning with tornadoes. So that's great news. But yeah, it's right here on the doorstep of the Weather Center.